Evening, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earth Watch on Monday, July 10, 2023 on our planet. I hope you're all well. So from the 12th until the 16th, I'm not going to be here. You're not going to see my observatory. Okay. Take my family out camping. Going to be dodging in between all the wildfires, heading off into the Rocky Mountains. Smoke and fire following us. So any reporting is only going to be from my cell phone. That's it. So I've been thinking about something. For a lot of us, we see what's happening. We see what's coming. Most of us, not everybody. But you're here to learn, to find out. But the question arises, do you tell your community, your neighbors, heck, even your family, wives and mothers, what you know and what you see, and your beliefs and what you see is coming? Once you have an understanding of what's happening below our feet with the geomagnetic excursion, the outer core expansion, the rising heat through the mantle plumes, the lithospheric melting, the volcanoes going off, the heat, the fires. Do you open your mouth and start telling people? No. Before you consider doing so, you need to ask yourself if that person's mental stability. Are they mentally mature? Are they with it? Enough to grasp the concept of your knowledge, of what you know, what you see. You know what? I think 98% of everybody out there, they're not going to know it. They're not going to believe you until it's right in front of their face or right underneath their feet. People will have to see things first. You can give them all the scientific evidence. You can give them all your observations. You can give them all the videos. You can show them all the heat anomalies, all the satellite sensors, data, everything, all of it. They won't have any belief in you. They don't have any concept of what you're talking about. I have a former vice principal, lives a few houses down from me. He's ex-RCMP police. I tried to introduce the subject of the geomagnetic excursion, and he didn't even know what the magnetosphere was. I had to stop. And so also, please, forget about the scare porn, fear porn, doomsday, ocean inundation throughout the world, swallowing up entire countries, completely buried in the bottom of the oceans. But yes, of course, there will be ocean inundation along the coastlines. That is going to be happening. But these fear porn maps, that's based on nothing. It is based on what someone programs into something. If somebody wants to create that visualization, you can do it. It's not based on anything. And again, as I've been saying for a long time now, that's not what you got to fear or prepare for. It's the series of earth changes events expected to happen before then. The volcanic eruptions, the outer core expansion, the pressure, the rise of heat and magma up through the mantle plumes to the underside of the lithosphere. Heat causing melt of the lithosphere in which the crust sits upon. Volcanoes going off. Earthquakes. Fires. Lots of fires. All the volcanic regions. Fires. that's just for a beginning, folks. To give you some perspective, I'm focusing on my province of British Columbia, Western Canada, because of everything that's been happening. I'll give you some perspective of the length. Starting from the top, the Wrangell Volcanic Field, which is separated between southeast Yukon and southeast Alaska and southwest Yukon. We're running all the way down to my area. 2,100 kilometers long. That is the same distance from Seattle all the way into Mexico. If you can imagine points all along that 2,100 kilometer line of rising heat and fires. Let's start from the top. My latest video today from the Mount Sanford Wrangell Volcanic Field in Alaska. 5 heat anomalies. The last eruptive phase of that volcano was 320,000 years ago. And it's shown a lot of heat coming up through all the snow and ice. You got to keep in mind, folks, that during the last glacial period, when we were covered in miles and ice, a lot of our volcanoes are still covered in ice, snow, such as Mount Sanford. And yet we have 5 heat anomalies coming up on a volcano that last had any activity 320,000 years ago. Let's continue further south. Stickney Volcanic Field, northwest British Columbia. I did that video. A few heat anomalies, including in the waters 1,000 feet offshore. These are not sensor errors. I have shown you a great many examples of heat anomalies in the waters. It is now a major wildfire. In fact, the province of British Columbia have now declared that area disaster zone. No one lives out there, but major wildfire. Continuing further south, staying within the Stickney Volcanic Field, Mount Priestley Seax Cone area fire. Last eruptive activity, Seax Cone 250 years ago, Mount Priestley, major eruption 400 years ago. Geological time, blink of an eye. Let's continue further on south, Anaheim Volcanic Belt. Nandita Mountain volcano, heat, then wildfires. I'm going to back up in a minute, folks. As I have so posted, these heat anomalies, which end up in wildfires, were not started by lightning strikes. I repeat, they were not started by lightning strikes. Throughout British Columbia, we have a great many airfields, and each one has webcams. I can go back the previous 24 hours on those webcams. Absolutely no weather, clear skies, no lightning. Continuing, Mount Cayley Volcanic Complex on the edge of the Garibaldi Volcanic Field, southwestern British Columbia. A lot of heat anomalies. Wells Gray Clearwater Volcanic Field, eastern British Columbia. A lot of heat anomalies. A lot of wildfires now. My region, Okanagan Lake, behind me. No weather. Temperature, low 20s. Satellite acquisition time, 3:30 in the morning. 2 fires, 8 heat anomalies, 1 kilometer radius around it. One of the fires, steep incline. No one drove down the highway, hiked in 350 feet, hiked up 300 feet or so, it started a fire at the side of a mountain. Sorry, no. Last week, across the lake from me, Knox Mountain. Fire. Then a series of heat anomalies around the fire. Clear day. No lightning. Not man-made started. I can go on and on and on and on. No lightning now. In fact, starting right now, a lot of lightning strikes. Yes. A lot more fires. Yes. The original series of fires all along all those volcanic regions and other heat anomalies. No weather. No lightning. Sorry. And no invading armies and no laser beams from space. Now, this is what I've been saying for some time now. The series of Earth changes is expected to happen before any end-of-time catastrophic event. And again, perspective. That's the same length as from Seattle all the way into Mexico. A long line of heat anomalies at the volcanic regions is now wildfires. Now, so here's what I see from my perspective and observations, and I take the time to evaluate every single one. I don't jump off in some wild lunatic conspiracy without absolutely no evidence whatsoever. Sensationalism for viewership. Now, as for northern Canada, please keep in mind that that is the one region on our planet with the weak magnetic field lines. This results in increased levels of ultraviolet radiation coming in, including ultraviolet C, heat, and sucking the moisture out of everything. And I have shown many examples of heat anomalies in the waters, Northwest Territories, Northern Alberta, Northern Saskatchewan, Northern Manitoba, and Quebec, all under weak magnetic field lines. So in some areas of Canada, we're going to get it from underneath and coming down from up top. Now, coincidentally enough, this is also the time of year that Siberia also has a breakout in wildfires at the same time as Canada, all along the northern hemisphere. But not now, not this year, nothing, nada. Now, this might suggest that the magnetic north is progressing a lot faster than we think, and then the magnetic field lines is reorganizing around the new magnetic North Pole. The field strength is always stronger around the magnetic poles. Maybe it's getting strength over Siberia, Russia, leaving us here in Canada with extremely weak field lines. More radiation coming in, more ultraviolet level radiation coming in, more fires. As for the smell of burnt plastic heading out of the United States, you know what? Start doing your own investigation. Start Googling the effects of ultraviolet radiation on wildfire smoke and the smell that you get. Anyway, I'll do a couple more videos before I leave. So I want to cover British Columbia because more than anywhere else in the world right now, there's a lot of fires starting up. from the heat below our feet in all the volcanic regions. There's a lot of heat elsewhere, all over the world, coming up. A lot of changes. My west country in Indonesia, the lahars, Semeru, the lava flows or pyroclastic flows mixed with floods. Folks, Indonesia has 2 seasons: warm, dry, summertime, and warm, wet, rainy seasons. It's summertime now, and they're having flash floods. I understand some places in eastern United States are also having some flash floods. And again, look at the jet streams collapsing, breaking down. And trying to imagine and trying to prepare for, in all the heat that we're having now, think about your next winter and start preparing for your next winter. Your cities and states and provinces, infrastructure, failure, your food and water and heat provisions for yourself and your family. Start preparing. It's easy to not think about these things when you're burning up and you have fires all over the place and heavy smoke over your heads. You always have to think about the next season. And so I think that's about it. And also remember the intensification of the distractions. Ukraine. The closer we are to a major earth changes events. What's the latest Ukraine news? They're pushing for Ukraine coming closer to becoming a NATO member country. Turkey agreeing to have Sweden become part of NATO. Distraction, folks. Distraction. United States sending cluster munitions. F-16s. Distractions. Before I leave, I'm sure most of you caught yet the 4th or the 5th earthquake off the coast of Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, in that same area. Right after that tsunami buoy off the coast of Nova Scotia. Remember, I keep on talking to you about the undersea mounts off the coast of New York, and every once in a while a tsunami buoy on either side will go into motion, indicating, yes, we have either this or a pull down, subsidence. And now another earthquake. They're becoming predictable. When a tsunami buoy goes into motion, just a little bit, there will be an earthquake off the coast of Newfoundland, right near the alleged submersible incident. Distraction. So when these things happen, what's next? More heat anomalies again? Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. Fires. That's it for now, folks. Have a swell evening.